Holden Caulfield's mood swings become more and more apparent throughout the novel, and more noticeable as the novel goes on. He goes from slightly depressed to slightly happy and then to even more depressed. And it becomes more and more apparent and more drastic through time. To escape Pensy early, Holden acts impulsively on his mood swings. And this is also to mention that he was already kicked out as a result of at least a little bit of his mood swings. He says, I just didn't want to hang around anymore. It made me too sad and alone. So what I decided to do, I decided I'd take a room in a hotel in New York. Some very inexpensive hotel and all, and just take it easy till Wednesday. Then, on Wednesday, I'd go home and all rested up and feeling swell. Even though this is not the case. He starts having consistent mood swings when he is hanging out in the city, doing really nothing, just other than drinking, partying, and trying to have a fun lifestyle. In the later chapters, Holden continues to focus more and more on phony conversations and phony speech. About Sally and George, Sally was his date to the movie theaters, and Sally and George met each other there, or they already seemed to know each other, and they talked about the movie there, and Holden talks about that experience as if it was the phoniest conversation you ever heard in your life. They both kept thinking of places as fast as they could. Then they'd think of somebody that lived there and mention their name.
So Holden has a series of ups and downs throughout the entire book, but I think the most noteworthy scenario where we see just multiple occasions of ups and downs is his relationship with the prostitute Sally. I think that you can't really classify it as either a good part or a bad part in his life, just because the relationship as a whole, it fluctuates between happy and sad, and most of it is him, it's good. He's finally doing something about an issue. Yes, he's confronting his issue about, well, he can't have sex with women because he's not dominant or masculine. So he's confronting that, which is good because, you know, he doesn't really do much about anything. He doesn't really make an effort to anything until now. And then it's also bad because once he actually does make the effort and he's with Sally in the room and Sally undresses and they're about to have sex, he just says he can't do it and he kind of runs away from it. So that's kind of the part where it's an up and down. But also it kind of transpires into now he has a relationship with Sally, which benefits him in the long run. So that I would say is a scenario of having an up and a
Holden
down.
tells us throughout the story that he was always the happiest when he was a kid, when he would hang out with Jane a lot, and when she was innocent. And he said that would always make him the happiest, and he saw the adult world as bad, and he didn't want his sister to grow up. And he shows that he tries really hard to keep his sister from going into the adulthood and always keeping Jane innocent. He puts a lot of effort into it. We show that it really means a lot to him. He shows that. We see that he gets really depressed when Jane starts to date other people because he's really liked her a lot for a long time, and he was always trying to keep her innocent.
Okay, so what we know about Holden is that he likes to be very. He likes to judge people. He likes to judge people for how they act. He doesn't like certain things. For example, when he notices Stradletter is dating Jane, he gets all offensive about it, and he has flashbacks that like, oh, whether or not he still likes her, because in that he has spent a long past with her, and the fact that he doesn't want at the end of the chapter is when he says he doesn't want he doesn't want to see his parents at all. He doesn't want his parents. Well, if you think about it, when he met Phoebe in chapter 26, he doesn't want his parents to know, but also at the same time he wants his parents to find out that he's there. So the emotions that he tries to hide, it shows that he's a very judgmental person. He likes to judge people. He wants things a certain way. And judging from chapter 25, when he says, when people ask him whether he likes something about it or not, notice how Holden doesn't give an answer. He's too concealed. He likes things a certain way, and he hides it. Meaning, he likes to be very. Um, he likes to hide certain things from people, and he likes to do things his way, and he just likes to conceal his emotions because of the way he's flunked out of school multiple times at Elkton, Prince's Prep. He doesn't like being told what to do, and so when the author Salinger wants us to know about him, how he's able to be compared to a lot of students where they have difficulty in their studies but live a rough life. Yeah, we get that, but also at the same time, Salinger's telling us how that Holden's a very relatable to a lot of people, and that it can show that I don't mean any offense or anything, but it shows how people have rough times, like they have rough times in their education, and then it takes a while for them to grow up out of it. Like for example, some people from what Holden said, like how he dropped out of school and how he said he wanted to move on to a ranch and work. That's I don't mean any offense or anything, but that's how a lot of kids see it. Like right after school, they go to work. Like they take it the hard way instead of putting in education. In my opinion, I think that's what Salinger is trying to show to us how Holden is trying to be that Catcher in the Rye, where like it says it's a Catcher in the Rye poem, and it says if a body catches a body, or something like that, or a poem like that. It means like Holden's trying to save people from like the metaphor he said when he watches kids fall off a cliff, he's the one that catches them. That saying that he said, meaning he's more of a guider in a way. He's more of a loose cannon in a way, that decides to help people around regardless of what they're doing.